Everybody, we are back. It is Taped Online, your favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course pandasups.com. Discount code TDL for 25% off all your protein needs. All right, so today we're doing some Tez Johnson and Demetrius Knight. So, sticking to the offensive defense. Look at some of my receivers here, and Matt's gonna be looking at the linebacker position, which are both needs for the Raiders. All it depends on when they're gonna start picking these guys. Is the kind of debate here. But especially with these high draft picks, where do you take certain guys? Where do you do? What positions do they address? Is going to be the interesting part of the draft. But first things first, we'll talk about a lot of these owners. It's owners meeting week, right? All the rules changes. They can't come to the Tush push haters are still having the lobby.
Should we? I was going to say, should we make our stance known? Are we pro or anti Tush push? How are we going? How are we going to attack that?
It's football, man. Like shit, just stop it. Like I don't understand. Like
I was thinking about it. Like the crazy thing about it is like. It's like, okay, you're banning the tush push because the Eagles are really good at. Are we going to ban wide zone because the Shanahan scheme's really good at that too? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I don't get it. Like, the argument to me that I love is like, if you don't want the Eagles to get the tush push, then don't let them get into 4th and short or 3rd and short. You know what I mean? Like, don't ban a team because they found something that they're really good at. It's not like it's an automatic play for anybody. If anything, if it was like just an automatic play for the offense, I would be in favor for it. But I mean, we've seen other teams try it and they haven't.
Hasn't worked, yeah.
And props to the Eagles. They've done it now with 2 centers, which is a big part of that equation.
Yeah, because I think the biggest part of the tush push is Jalen Hurts himself. He's the biggest part of the tush push. It works because of him, I think, for the most part. And obviously, he's really good at the QB sneak. So, it's not really even duplicated around the NFL. That's the thing. Like, you're really just hating on one team.
I mean, like you said, it helps when you have a quarterback squat like 600 pounds. He's got a big tush to push. I mean, I don't know.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like what the? That's the stupidest rule thing I can think of it. That's literal, just pure hate. I hate that you do that. So I'm gonna lobby a bunch of teams around us, and we all hate it, and we're gonna vote against it. That's basically and since we don't have enough votes, we're gonna wait. Because we're gonna try to get these other guys. Yeah.
In a way, I feel like it's like if you're the Eagles and like you're Jalen Hurts, like it's almost like a compliment because it's like, damn, we're so good at this that they want to make it illegal. It's like the Jordan shoes back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. The Super Bowl. You win a Super Bowl. You went 2 in the last 3 years. Yeah, I bet it's all NFC teams mostly. I bet it's like.
Well, the Packers are the one that brought it up, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're like, we're sick of this shit.
They lost to the playoffs last year too. They got their butts kicked. Matt LaFleur's like, I'm getting rid of this now. That's exactly what he thought when he came home. All right, and then John Spytek and Pete Carroll spoke. Carroll didn't really say much except we're waiting on Geno. Geno Smith is not signed, but they're working on Geno Smith. Spytek had a lot of more of what I would say headline grabbers.
Yeah.
All right, start off with the O-line one, which is has a lot of people freaking out. You got people saying, I'm worried about JPJ. The Raiders are looking at 4 guys competing for 2 starting guard spots: Powers Johnson, Parham, right? Parham, Kappa, and Meredith, and 3 other than Kappa will compete for the center job. So, what are your thoughts on that, Matt?
I mean, I do think it is interesting that he very easily, it would have been a non-quote if he would have said to me like, oh yeah, those 4 guys are competing for the 3 interior spots, when it's like, okay, yeah, like we know that's what you're kind of saying, like going into it, where like I think JPJ, we would just be like, yeah, you're saying he's competing, but he's not really. But the fact that he brought up like, oh yeah, we might make a change at center. I still think JPJ starts, and I think it's more just to kind of like maybe even fire him up or light a fire under him, and not make sure he doesn't get complacent. But like the fact that he like said that specifically, like it's like, oh yeah, they're going to compete at center too, made it a little bit more interesting. But for the most part, I feel like the real competition is at guard, like we noticed. Like I don't know, personally, I kind of think JPJ is better at center anyway. He looks a little bit more natural there. I mean, he was good at guard too, but to me, he was just his best games this past season were him at center, and that's his like natural position. I think they keep him there, so I don't think it's much of anything. And I'm looking at it too. The three guys he named, like JPJ has the most experience at center out of all of them, and obviously it all came last year. So yeah, it is interesting again that he called out the center spot specifically, but I think the competition is really at guard between those three dudes, Parham, Kappa, and Meredith.
Yeah, because I think with also with Pete Carroll being there, I think that the word compete is we gotta start looking at that word a little differently.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're all going to compete for it. So yeah, if let's say Dylan Parham plays center better than JPJ, then yeah, he's going to start at center. But we should expect JPJ to start at center. I like that because that means Alex Kappa is competing to start. I like that. It is not an official thing, you know. So I kind of really expect Jordan Meredith, JPJ, and Dylan Parham to be the starters, right?
Yeah,
I think
it's the same as last year.
Yeah, same as last year. I kind of see that. I mean, even you talked about before the show started, we said about DJ Glaze, but he says that he loves to draft offensive linemen. You know, does that put you know, the dude from Missouri? I don't want to say his name wrong because people are yelling at us about saying names wrong all the time now.
Membu?
Yeah, Membu, yeah.
Yeah.
He could be an option at 6 or they trade back or something like that, and he's still there, or even Will Campbell's. Those type of guys are options if he's just, you know, he loves drafting some offensive linemen. But yeah, it was interesting in that perspective. But I still think the word compete, we're thinking too much into it because we're not hearing that word too much. And Pete Carroll is compete.
That's all he's about.
Yeah, it's like his buzzword. You know what I mean? I think John Spytek just kind of did that that buzzword with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that is interesting too is he did mention he's like, I love drafting offensive linemen, and that's specifically when talking about DJ Glaze. He's like, pretty much, he said the question was, if I remember correctly, was what's the plan at right tackle? And he said DJ Glaze, but we have 9 picks in the draft, and you know how much I like offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So I got to imagine too, like probably there's going to be at least one more guy in that room that might be able to compete for the job this year. And like you said, I think Membu's definitely on the table at 6, especially given Colton Miller's situation with Colton Miller going into a contract year and turning 30 and being banged up. Like I think going with an offensive lineman with the 6th pick, whether it be Will Campbell or Membu, I don't think people are giving that enough like credit that could be an option. Like I don't know what they do at that point. If you know, do you put Membu or Will Campbell or someone at right tackle and have DJ Glaze ride the bench for a year and then just ride it out for the year for with Colton Miller? Do you put either one of those rookies at guard for a year, or do you draft one of them and say, all right, you're the left tackle right now, and then maybe try and shop Colton Miller and get a couple more picks on draft day? So it'll be interesting, but I definitely think Membu and Will Campbell Campbell, this guy we've gone over in the past, are on the table with the first round pick.
Yeah, and also his comments on the radio show talking about Ashton Genty, because you know Ashton Genty is a big,
that's right, yeah,
big you know buzz with you know Raiders Nation right now. You know, a lot of fans are pro drafting Ashton Genty, but he kind of made the comment that I thought was funny. How it's like, it's not fantasy football. That's a fantasy football draft pick.
Oh, his son. The one about his son. His like son might leave the house or whatever.
Yeah, like watching YouTube highlights.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's true. Like that kind of shows like maybe what he thinks that the value of taking a guy at 6. Like he's going to make sure that that guy is great. You know what I mean? And not saying Ashton Genty isn't great, but it does scare me a little bit that he didn't do anything athletically, because you know I'm doing Tez Johnson today, and if I couldn't imagine if Tez Johnson did not run. If Tez Johnson's like, I'm not doing any drills, where does he go? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Especially like when I was watching this film, I was thinking like if he didn't run that 40,
would he be?
What would we be saying? Because he was cooking at the Senior Bowl. He has great film, and you know we all knew he was small, but it's just like that. Like, what do you like? It makes you feel like you're hiding something a little bit, right? Because it's right. Because if Ashton Genty runs a 4.52, then everybody's like, you know, that's 6. I don't know. You know what I mean? So that kind of is the outlook for it when it comes to, you know, drafting at 6. But we'll see what Spytek does. Everything's just up in the air right now. I really don't know what these guys are gonna do. They could do anything. That's the thing.
And being a Raider fan for this long and paying attention this much to the draft over the years, the fact that so many people are convinced they're going to take Genti tells me that he's not going to be there. No. Just if history tells us anything, we've had plenty of regimes before and plenty of off the wall picks that no one saw coming.
Yeah, just full on bluffing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be that too. Because we're gonna draft Genti. Trade up.
Not a bad move.
Yeah, because I think they do want to trade down. I mean, I think the spot that they're at, if they trade down, they could still probably get Will Johnson or Johnny Barron or something like that. If they want a corner, they can still get a safety. They can still get good. Like I said, they want to draft Will Campbell, and they want to move him inside and bring him to compete at guard or something like that. Those options are there if they trade back, or they, they want to go different route, defensive tackle, whatever they want to do or whatever their thought process is. I think that they have those options if they trade back. So that's kind of what I feel like they're going to go at. But.
Yeah. Plus, you think if they trade back, they can probably get the pick they gave up for Geno back. You know what I mean? And especially if there's not a guy that they're really sold on as a top 10 player and available at 6. So I think that's definitely an option too.
Yeah. All right. So today we are doing Tez Johnson and Demetrius Knight. So let's start there. Tell us a little about Demetrius Knight. Matt.
Yeah, so kind of come from the same mold or similar mold as Danny Stutzman, who we looked at last time, where he's going to be that run defending linebacker that can replace what Robert Spillane brought for the last 2 seasons. I think probably the biggest difference between a guy like Knight and Stutzman is Stutzman, like we saw, was a little bit more like the hair on fire, like you just want him blitzing and running downhill. Whereas Knight, he can do that, but he is a lot more cerebral and kind of as I think better instincts against the run, and he'll make plays by just letting the trash sort itself out and then just attacking the opening and the gap and whatnot. And on top of it too, he does have a few good reps where he shows off some impressive strength and being able to take on blocks. He's got super long arms, which obviously helps him get extension, and also we'll see a couple examples here of where it helps improve his tackling range. He'll lay out and be able to grab somebody by the ankle and get him pretty often. So, but also similar to Stutzman, probably a little bit more limited in coverage. Not terrible by any means. I think he kind of surprised a lot of people where he ran sub 4.6. Actually ran a faster time than Jeff Boss, who I think is a pretty good coverage linebacker and a former DB. But yeah. So he's definitely an intriguing dude in this year's class for me. Again, more that run defender, 6-year guy who is an older prospect too. Also interesting nugget was a dual threat quarterback coming out of high school. I think he was 225 pounds. Can you imagine that guy toting the rock, running the option in high school? So big dude who's been to a couple schools now. He was South Carolina was his 3rd school in as many years. Spent 4 years at Georgia Tech. Got dismissed there for reasons undisclosed, and then went to Charlotte, balled out there, and then ended up being a pretty damn good player this past year at South Carolina.
So I remember Demetrius Knight having a pretty good Senior Bowl. He looked pretty good in coverage that week. He looked pretty good coverage there. But yeah, I definitely remember him from the Senior Bowl kind of standing out and looking, basically showing that he could play in the NFL. But being older, that's going to play a factor. But with the linebacker like that, it's not as much as I feel like with the quarterback. I probably feel like he might be, like you said, a more cerebral player if he's played longer. So it's all value to me. But I do want to ask you, where do you think, since you've been studying these linebackers, where do you think they start going? Besides Jihad Campbell, of course, guys like that.
I think Campbell and Walker are 1st-round guys for sure. Schwessinger is the guy. He'll probably be our next breakdown. He's the guy that's kind of the wild card in this one, where I think I could see a team being I'm going to take a chance on this dude's upside and his athleticism, and I could see him going in that 2nd round, but maybe early and whatnot. So I think we could start seeing guys and a run on them and in that 2nd round, probably middle of the round, and then I think the 3rd round is probably going to be the sweet spot where we're going to see a lot of these dudes fly off the board, because I do think this is a decent linebacker class compared to the last few years, where we might see a little bit more guys go on day 2 than we have in the past. And then obviously with Campbell being Campbell Walker being a round 1 guys, that's a little bit more unique from the past years where we've only had one and sometimes none. Last year, I think Edge Cooper was like the first one off the board, and he was at
Yeah.
like the 50s or something like that, wherever the Packers were picking. So I definitely think we're going to see probably, if I had to bet, again, including Jalen Walker as a linebacker, probably 3 before the 50 picks this year. So it'd be interesting.
So yeah. So you feel like the Raiders probably could wait until the third round and still grab a good player at linebacker, kind of basically.
I think so. I think there's enough guys that they could find. Maybe not like I think a Danny Stutzman lasts till the third round. Demetrius Knight, I think probably is going to be there in the third round. Bossa will probably be around in that area too, and then Chris Paul from Ole Miss probably in that cluster. Those are the guys who I have like towards the top of my board in that third round category, that fringe end of third round category.
Okay. All right. So Tez Johnson, like I said, his film is pretty good. So I'll say he's a pretty dynamic player. He could run routes. I remember him just killing everybody at the Senior Bowl. It was like an afterthought to me. The way people talked about him after leaving the Senior Bowl, like, oh yeah, Tez Johnson kill everybody. Like, we all knew that was gonna happen. And you see it on film, right? Like, and he's like the ultimate slot receiver. It is interesting to me, like when I watch him on film, and I know the size is the thing. The size is the thing. But like people put like Jalen Noel and some of these other pure slot guys in front of him. It just doesn't make sense when you watch the film. Just from like an intelligence standpoint from the slot, from how he runs routes from the slot, how you could use him. Because the whole time I was watching it, I was thinking like, oh man, if Chip Kelly got his hands on this guy, because you can move him around. He runs routes he does choice routes from the running back position. You can getting the ball out on screens. A lot of things where he could just make it happen, and the long speed doesn't become a huge factor. And of course, like if you get like what Ohio State did, Ohio State put their starting cornerback. I don't know who that guy was, but he was one of the starting quarterbacks who plays outside. They put him on him, and they're going to press him, and he didn't really play well in both those games because they put it's like putting like Sauce Gardner on Tez Johnson inside. They were like, you're small. We're going to put our big ass outside corner on you, and he's just going to put his hands on you. And so I mean, that's the way you could really stop him. But if you have somebody like Chip Kelly, the Raiders had a visit with Tez Johnson at the combine, so they wanted to know about him. They had a visit with him. So if Tez Johnson is somebody they visited with, and Chip Kelly with his mind of what he could do with a player like that, and just to be the ability to move him around, and he's a tough guy too, he'll block and things like that. I really like him being there, like in the third or fourth round at this point, because I really feel like that's where he's going to be slotted, like the fourth round.
Yeah,
just because the size, him not having that Xavier Worthy speed with it. You got that 4.29 speed with it to have that size, like or Hollywood Brown, who's a smaller player.
Yeah,
just fast as hell. But I think for like a pure slot receiver, like just a guy comes in and he could catch every ball. He had 3% drop percentage this year, and for his career is 6%. So he catches everything. He's really smart. He knows when to turn routes in against zone coverage from the inside. Like, it's just from a pure slot receiver. Like, I don't think anybody is like better than him in this draft. So it's and I watched like 20 receivers this past week, and a lot of them playing the slot. It's just him. It's just different. Like, it's just the way he moves and understands zone coverage, I guess, and like running choice routes and things like that. It's hard. It's gonna be hard for a team to stop him once I feel like he gets older, and then eventually he'll probably get to like 170 eventually, especially with that type of speed. And you might as well just get to 170, bro. Like, you run a 4.5.
Yeah.
Why you say that? So like you put a little more weight on him, let him build up. I think by like year 2, year 3, you're gonna see like this dude is just a playmaker where he has like 100 catches and maybe 1,100 yards, but it's like one of those things where you just kind of getting him the ball in his hands and he's just making plays.
Yeah. To use an old Mike Mayockism, he's quicker than fast, right?
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
No, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing with Tez is like I obviously being an Oregon fan, like I love the guy's game, and like you said, I think he's a great slot receiver. It's just you're betting on an outlier that at that weight with that speed. You know what I mean? There's not many guys in the NFL who have had success, if any, have had success being 155 pounds and running above a north of a 4.5 40. Like, that's just the nature of the game. Like, not saying that he can't do it, but you are taking a little bit of a chance and like going against the numbers in that regard. But fun. He's a fun dude to watch on film, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my thing. Like it becomes a value thing. So like the fourth round or something like that, like taking him in the fourth round is not crazy to me. And then you might have, I mean, your slot receiver for a long time. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how you look at it. But you know, I was impressed. Like I was like, if I could just find, I basically, because like from the slot, I could just find ways for nobody to touch you. So that's my thing. So yeah. Sure. All right, let's do Knight first. Let's check out Demetrius Knight.
Sounds good. All right, so we're gonna start off with a few of Demetrius Knight's instincts versus the run. Like this first rep, you're also going to see some pretty good agility and like the lateral movement skills from him. But he does a great job just mirroring the back. I think with the way South Carolina looks like they're playing this, he's going to originally start flowing here. Then he's going to see this little counter action from LSU and start flowing back to the other side. But then the back, like you'll see the lane starts to open up like right here. And he recognizes it, and perfect eyes on the back, and then ends up just kind of scraping over the top to go make that tackle, get the pads down, keep that to a 3-yard gain. So again, just kind of like his ability to react to what he's seeing and have the movement skills to be able to do it. I think he's got some pretty good lateral agility. Now this one's a little more nuanced. Like if you notice here at the end, if you watch Nussmeier, the quarterback, like they're kind of faking the throw here, and if we see Mason Taylor is kind of looking for the ball. So it's an RPO, but what LSU is trying to do is make it look like split zone, where Taylor's going to work across the formation. Only we're going to see Will Campbell here kick out the end, and Taylor's going to go work the flat route. And what I like that Knight does is like you'll see him here initially, like he starts flowing with the flat route by the tight end, so that gets Nussmeier to hand it off. But the whole time he's still eyeing the quarterback, sees the handoff here, and then just goes in and makes the tackle. Like this is a play design that's meant to make him wrong, and he ends up kind of toying with the offense and just using his instincts to go make a tackle for 3-4 yard gain. Like we'll take that.
That's some excuse athleticism too there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a better athlete than I think what you might expect. Being a dual threat quarterback helps.
Yeah.
This one too, like you'll see one thing I like about his game is like he's patient. He's diagnosing the play, but he's patient. And like on this rep here, like kind of hangs out here. And then once the opening hits, that's when he starts attacking. And then when he gets a little bit help from 91 here, does a great job like reducing the guard here. He can just come off clean and come off and make the play. So he's like measured in how he attacks at the end of the day. This is the best way I think I can put it. And we'll see another good example of that here against Bama. This might be one of my favorite ones. A little pin and pull with a QB lead concept. And again, going up against a guy like Jalen Milroe, who is a one-cut type of runner, like you'll see like right about here, you notice he kind of slows down in that little area. Well, with this, with the way this is blocked up, like Milroe could cut it up the field, and if he over pursues, I mean, we've seen Milroe take it to the house and outrun DBs all the time. But what he does, or what Knight does well, is he slows up to show some color in that. Looks like Milroe might see that and says, okay, I got to stay on my path. And then on top of it, again, kind of what I was talking about, being measured and like understanding when to attack and when to shoot the gap here. Like Knight, instead of just after this, like running like a bat out of hell and just going straight and trying to beat Milroe to the spot, like he kind of lets these two pullers, or the lead blocker and then the pulling guard, over pursue, and then attacks and ends up getting the tackle right at the line of scrimmage on again quarterback that we've seen run away from some DBs.
I'm sorry, Nick. Even your cracks me up, but anyways, keep going.
What happened on this one? I didn't notice.
He's just a safety, doesn't want to tackle. It's just hilarious to me. Like, he was still part of this. He was he was. That was just so funny. Anyways,
I'll let Knight clean that one up. Now this one, I will admit, is some pretty terrible footwork from the left tackle. But again, I kind of see the same thing where like he just takes a second to diagnose the play. Once he sees it all develop in front of him, now we attack. Now we go downhill. And again, with some bad footwork here by the left tackle, we're able to crash and go make that play.
Did he like hesitate, like make him stall on that last one?
I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if that messed him up. I think it was just a bad footwork by this tackle. But yeah, he like wasn't in the right spot where he was. Like him taking a second to read it was like, whoa, that guy's supposed to move.
Yeah, you know, he's like
playing the game a little bit. Yeah, I didn't recognize that the first time, but that was a good one. Another good example of him, like just kind of mirroring the running back here. Again, South Carolina like to do this a lot where they pinch into the gap. And again, it just stays deep, let the play develop. Now we go attack. Now we get aggressive. Like this is how we avoid the trash because 90 here, Sanders doesn't have a great rep. He's wrapping around and ends up losing some ground. So he's just going to stay back, avoid that trash. And then this is one of the examples of him using those long ass arms. I think it's over 33 inches. I think 33 and a half, something like that. I'm probably wrong on the fraction, but put it this way. He's got some long arms, and you can see right there, ends up bringing it out down the running back. Next one, honestly, more speaks to his range than his instincts more than anything, but is a nice read here against this little speed op again from Clemson. Would see him knock the running back backwards instead of throw him forward, but we'll take this. Take this rep again. Nice read op. Like too, how he kind of just doesn't. He's still measured. He doesn't just run like a bat out of hell and over pursue or something like that. Open up the cutback lane. Has those little hesitation step or pauses for a little bit to make the open field tackle. Now on top of it too, again, like I said, does have some strength at the point of attack. Not necessarily like a ton of pop. Not that physical, I would say. But what you can see is this is where those long arms come in handy too. Going up against, I think that's Emory Jones right there from the right tackle from LSU. Is a pretty good run blocker. But Knight has just great hands, gets some extension, is able to get off the block and then go make the tackle on the opposite hash. So again, just kind of like just showing off a little bit of his strength. Get a better example of it here on this next clip against Texas A&M. I mean, this is the one where you kind of get sold on his upper body strength. Like technically, the way he's fitting this gap, like he's responsible for this play side A gap or backside A gap. And he kind of lets the offensive lineman like beat him to the spot a little bit, but he has the strength there and the arm length to take advantage of this guy not having a great base and end up closing the gap with the man. And then on top of it, we're able to get off the block and go get involved in the tackle. So this was the one where I got really excited about his upper body strength because you can see like he just immediately gains control of that block and boom, takes away the rushing lane while being able to play in another one. One more here against Clemson. Again, not the most like physically imposing rep, but what I like about this is he's using his hands here at the point of attack. Like, see, got him cocked and ready to go. Gets him up on the chest, and that's going to allow him to get off this block and then go make this play, scrape over the top of this this guard here to go make tackle outside of his gap. And then again, one more thing he can do. He's decent at avoiding or slipping blocks. Like you'll see here, he does get a little bit of help from 91 on this one with the guard falling off balance. But what I do like is the movement skills and this little move at the end or right before contact there to just kind of make that guy miss. And again, another example of him using those long arms, laying out, go bring down a running back and go make the tackle. This one was, I mean, we're just bunny hopping over here.
Yeah.
hop into the C gap, make the tight end miss. Again, setting it up. Like, this is what I'm talking about, where like he's pretty good in a phone booth. Like, he's not like a huge open field great athlete, but against offensive linemen, I mean, as a tight end playing fullback, he can make a miss and find another way to just defeat blocks. This one, I liked how he set it up. Now, I would like to see him make the tackle a little bit sooner, but like you're going to notice, like he's responsible for this gap here. But the way he sets the tackle up is by originally fitting inside shade, and then he's going to go quick, and he's going to use his quickness and his lateral movement skills to just win over the top and defeat the block to make the tackle. Again, would like to see him limit that gain a little bit more, maybe do it a little bit sooner. But nice to know that he has that in his bag.
Yeah, it was like he was too patient on that one, you know.
Yeah, a little bit. Now, on top of it too, again, not much of a impact in coverage, but what he can do is blitz and has pretty damn good closing speed. Again, ran sub 4.6 at like 240 pounds at the combine. And you see him here just close on Milrow and make one hell of a sack after on the scramble drill. Again, sure tacklers too, because as we've seen, Milrow is not easy to bring down in the open field. This one was even more impressive here against Oklahoma. I felt like it. I mean, he just looked like he got shot out of a cannon here. And on top of it, forces the fumble to lead to a little scoop and score. see another forced fumble from him here in a second. But again, just the closing speed here. Like what I like about this rep too is like he's in man coverage. I'll show this from the end zone view. Get this going, make you a little bit faster. So from the end zone view here, like they're going to be in man coverage where he's going to have either the tight end or the running back, whoever kind of shows first. But what you'll notice is obviously both the tight end and the running back stay in the protection scheme. The block, I think that might be Kennard, the SEC guy, the SEC defensive player here, maybe the other guy. But either way, both the running back and the tight end are staying in the protection scheme. So again, Knight's looking at that. He sees it, and then he realizes, okay, well, now I have the freedom to rush in what's called a green dog blitz. And as soon as that quarterback starts to get flushed out of the pocket from the edge pressure, now I can go attack. Again, make a great play on the football, lead to a turnover and some points. All right, the last clip. Technically not rushing the passer or closing speed, but I just kind of want to show it again. Nice little peanut punch here. Force that fumble. 2 forced fumbles in one game. We'll take that. This is why if you go on PFF and see his PFF grade, the Oklahoma one was his best game of the season. 2 forced fumbles will do that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is textbook peanut punch, man. Boom. Right on the ball. Boom. Knockout. He got it too good, though, and bounced right back to the quarterback. Did want to show a couple of his highlights and coverage, or a little bit of what he can do. Again, this one, I'm not going to write home about this. I'm not going to say he's going to be able to do this in the NFL, but hey, nice little adjustment here. Covering the back, a bad ball from Klubnik, and they'll tip pass, go get a pick, dig it out. This more than anything is just range. Again, that sub 4.6 speed going to come up against this little RPO from Oklahoma and actually fit against the left tackle here, and then realize, they're throwing the flat and the linebacker, so we got caught on that, or the tight end, excuse me. So we got caught coming downhill a little bit too far on that one. But again, the makeup speed to be able to go out there and chase down the tight end and show off some impressive range. And it looked like he tried to get another little forced fumble here on the tackle. Didn't get it on that one, but still limited to a 6-yard gain. We'll live with that against an RPO, especially that one that was schemed up pretty well. So, yeah, I mean, that's Demetrius Knight, man. Like I said, pretty good instincts against the run. A few different ways he can take on and beat blocks and stuff like that. I think adds value as a blitzer in against passing plays, and again can tackle a little bit in the open field. Has some range to him with his speed. Where he's not a total liability, but he is a lot like Spillane, where it's like he's never going to be a coverage linebacker. That's never really his thing. But you can at least keep him on the field a little bit and hide him a little bit, and then involve him in the pass rush every now and again to keep him contributing on third downs.
Yeah, I thought the way he played the run was really impressive. Like just him being patient, understanding, run plays, when to accelerate, when to be patient, and then, like when to slow yourself down, not overrun things. Yeah. I think those are a lot of things that, you'll like as a linebacker, because that can show that he could maybe play right away, right?
Yeah.
And be effective. Just having that, the intelligence. That's what I was talking about, before we started breaking him down, him just being an older player. There's a lot of like what you see right there. That's what it looked like. It looked like a veteran out there, just understanding, I've seen this run play before, I've seen this look, and a lot of those things. So he just looked like he was just knew exactly what he was doing and knew how to play the position. There's like nothing raw about him, I guess I would say, when you watch him. Like he just looked like he can contribute against the run right away. Like even, in the past game, like you're talking about with middle linebackers, you can hide them a little bit. But if you can get him blitzing and he's reading things, or you need to play a QB spy, you saw that. I mean, if he has to get a fast quarterback that week, you can put him in there. You can play quarterback spy. So yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, like I think he's a classic guy who, with his age, are like, all right, the ceiling's not that high, but the floor is high, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like you can kind of get him and plug and play. He will be like a 25-year-old rookie. I think he turns 25 in July, if I'm remembering that correctly. And again, spending 6 years in college, having played the other side of the ball, having a little experience doing that certainly helps. And yeah, I mean, definitely a guy again that could come in and start right away. Mm-hmm. When you start thinking about the second contract, and he'll be, turning 29. That's where I think That's why I don't think he gets as much draft buzz because of that factor where you don't use as much of a premium pick, which kind of makes his draft projection a little bit hard to pin down. Because is there a team that doesn't care about that and would just wants a starting linebacker right now, which the Raiders could be, or is there a team that's looking at it like, hey, I don't want to draft an older guy that I don't know how long I'm going to be able to get, if I'm going to be able to get a second contract out of him, or if I'm going to want him for a second contract. So be interesting to see where he ends up falling. But I think whoever gets him is going to get a good linebacker for sure.
Sounds good. All right, let's do some Tez Johnson. All right, so we start off with Tez Johnson here in the slot. Of course, this could be all the slot because that's what he plays. He never really plays outside. Really didn't. I don't think, even if I look at PFF, I bet it's like in the 90s. But he just can run routes. He's so smooth in and out of his break. So here he is running a dig route here. You see, it's a quick movement. There's no wasted movement, and he's always just gets it flat too. So it allows himself to open get himself ready to look at the quarterback, and allows Dylan Gabriel, who had really good, what I would say, chemistry with him and timing, which is super interesting because they never really played together. But I thought the timing, like even this throw right here, if you can get the timing down with him, he's so quick out of his breaks. He's always getting his head around. He catches everything. You can get a little bit of yak after it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's kind of funny because him and Bo Nix are like Nix's dad adopted, Nix's family adopted Tez Johnson, so they're brothers. But he has great chemistry with Gabriel. So. That's
funny. So the Broncos are going to try to draft him. Is that you're telling me?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is Sean Payton could cook with him too, but
yeah.
You see the yak ability. He's tough too. Like, I know he's 154 pounds, but he's just so tough to me. A tough player. All right, here's another great route here. He's gonna be running this out route. Like I said, just so quick in and out of his breaks. And you see here just how well he sells things too as well. You can see his eyes. His eyes are going forward. He's got this slot corner right here. He's already got him in side turn. Kind of bailing already, expecting that speed. And he just quickly just gets flat.
That's a great route.
And it's just like no wasted movement. It's like nothing funky or anything like that. You just see how flat he gets too. I mean, I think that's a key part of this is like, you see guys who they have to get all funky and like do like a full stop here to kind of get flat. It's just no wasted movement. And that's when you have a 93 percentile three cone. So you can see it right there. Like I said, he has great hands too. He doesn't drop anything. All right, so here he is against Penn State here. And this route's pretty crazy. He had 191 yards against Penn State on 11 catches. And this is kind of like a little Hunter Renfrow little route, kind of a little right there.
That was the Renfrow.
Yeah, so he comes back in, right? Kind of go out right there. He does this guy just grabbing a jersey, falling over himself. He's wide open. So I mean, these tell you from inside in the slot, you can get some matchups with him. And like I said, if these guys aren't getting his hands on him or they can get physical, they're in trouble. And even that guy tried to, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one inside. And it's, like I said, in the West Coast offense with Chip Kelly runs, you get a lot of choice routes. And you're see him run a bunch of choice routes for these next couple of reps. So this one, the choice route, you get out, in a slant, or a hitch, right? And you see just how he sells this. He sees the outside, this guy going outside, right? And he just creates this big hole right here, and he just cuts back in quickly. Boom. And I even liked how, if you see it, just the nuance in the route too, because watch him get flat with this. See where the safety's coming? So he gets flat here. Instead of just running the slant here right into 6, he gets flat. He's still able to catch that football, and which allows him to run upfield. And that's what I'm talking about, like a lot of the nuance of him playing slot too is, and route running and things like that. When you see how tiny he is on the field. He's a super tiny guy, right? But when you play inside, you have guys playing off coverage like this, right? Where they're not getting their hands on you, and you can get kind of these openings, and you can set them up against linebackers and stuff like that. Yeah, he went off against this team. He just was cooking these guys all day. And then here's another choice route. Like I said, get him right here. You get him lined up against number 7 right here. You can go out, slant, hitch. This time, the corner kind of stands his ground a little bit. So you kind of see he's kind of giving up the out right here.
Yeah.
He sees it. Gabriel gets it out a little late here. I mean, I don't get mad at him about choice routes getting out late, because sometimes, unless you're, a savant or something like that, you know exactly where he's going to go. But you still see how the separation he created here against number 7. Just quickly out of his break, get flat here. Great catch. Get out of bounds. So, I mean, it is more of a struggle, when you can get your hands on it, but it's usually only the red zone. I mean, that's where you can really get your hands on them and really affect the play, is when you can get your hands on the red zone. It's like, it's close quarters. So on this one, what I really like about this one is very nuanced, because like this is a big opening here with this kind of, cover 3 with like a cover 3 Mabel, basically, look, because you get the lock man coverage down here, you cover 3 up here, right? And so there's going to be a huge opening with this safety coming down, right? He's kind of playing this little, do a little run game, so he's kind of driving on the run. But what you'll notice here is that you see Tez Johnson just looking forward at this safety, right? He's just running right at him, and he just quickly cuts inside. This guy falls, trying to like, oh shit, I got to break on he's not ready to go right. He's breaking. But one thing you notice too on this one is how flat he gets here, and he goes, and this one's about the slot. He gets flat here, and he gets right there in the opening, right in between that, where he can become the target for the quarterback and get yak.
Great read.
Yeah, he just reads it. Boom, he's right in there. I mean, he did have 300 more yards with Bo Nix, so it kind of makes sense how they're a little closer. All right.
Yeah.
So here at this one, he has even more great timing with Dylan Gabriel. But also I like on this one is kind of the same thing. It's just how clean the route is. So he's got his head going forward. He's selling the go route. He's selling, they run a lot of seams with him too. And the timing he has with Gabriel, like as soon as he comes out of his break, it's right exactly where it needs to be on this missile route right here. And, Gabriel's able to get that ball out quick. And right before the safety gets there, because just all the, like how exactly the line where it needs to be. Like it's like if I drew this up and you drew this and you needed to be perfectly aligned, it'd be exactly how he runs this route, which allows him to get the yak there. Then he breaks a couple tackles.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
This is perfect right there. And it's the hands, concentration. Like the only drop I saw on film was a concentration drop when he's trying to run before he caught the ball.
Yeah.
And here he is against press. We're talking about against Ohio State. Like this is because this guy, he plays outside a lot for Ohio State. You watch teams that play against Ohio State. I don't know who exactly this guy is, but this is what they did against him. They're like, you are not beating us, Tez Johnson. But you still see here, he's able to get around there and able to be physical with a bigger player. So like you see kind of a nice little jab step inside there. Boom, hit a little jab step, get outside, let his little arm over. And then, if Dylan Gabriel's not getting pressure here, right? I mean, he has a lot of separation against this guy. So I really like what he could do against press coverage too. And this a lot of the things you saw at the Senior Bowl. I mean, because if you can't get your hands on him and be physical, he's gonna be running by you. All right, so here he is running deep routes here a little bit. Which what I like about him running up the seam, especially this one, this is a dime, first of all, by Dylan Gabriel. Good Lord. This is a nice throw, Dylan. Great job. But him, like I said, being tough and being 154 pounds, you'd figure he wouldn't be able to like pull his ball away, right? And just kind of rip this ball away from this player. But I'm talking about just how tough he is.
Yeah. Plays bigger than he is.
Yeah, exactly. He's tough, like just fighting through this because this guy's getting his hands on. Like, of course, it's college football. You can't do this in the NFL, right? You can't. I mean, it's a flag for sure. But you just see him fighting through it. Like you see bigger guys playing the slot. Like I forgot who we did last week, or we did Kyle Williams, and he wasn't fighting through things like this, right? And he's 154 pounds. And of course, like, I mean, without this dime by Dylan Gabriel, I mean, that makes the whole play. But you kind of see from this backside like how close it is. Like he won that battle for the ball. He wanted the ball more than the safety, and he won that battle at 154 pounds. You kind of see it again on this one too, where you see him, he's at the top here. So, he's at the top right here, and they're going to give him this free release. He's going to be one-on-one with this corner right here at the top. And what I like about this one too, this guy gets physical again with him. Of course, they can't do this in NFL. This is legal contact, but that's fine. But still the point that him fighting through that and getting separation right there, being able to accelerate. Because I mean, when you're 154 pounds, you got the big corner kind of putting that, his hands on you right there. You want to see him be physical, and that's why I really like that. He is a physical player, even at 154 pounds. He can make plays for you. Right there, touchdown. All right, next one here. Now, also, this is what I talk about when, if Chip Kelly got his hands on him, what you could do with him. So here you get him lined up at the running back position. He's going to be running a choice route. I just kind of like this concept because it's kind of a little bit of a pick when you get man-to-man, though. But you get this safety. He's going to be coming this way hard, right? Coming downhill hard, and he just kind of cuts right back inside. Wide open. Doesn't get too much yak on this one. Kind of just gets down. But it's just that ability to just get the ball in his hands. You see him here again, running a H choice a little bit here off the motion. And he does a good job of just kind of seeing this because if you can't go inside with this linebacker right here, he's got to run this out route. All right, catch the ball, get back inside, get that first down. So there's a whole bunch of different ways you can use him to. You can get the ball in his hands, move him around, just like all what Oregon did. Because, like I said, at 154 pounds, you can't always just have that guy always out there. You want to find different ways to get him the football.
Yeah.
Same thing here on this one. You can see him lined up right here. Kind of like at a tight end position, basically playing an H-back position right there. Get him lined up, do a little RPO with him, give him the ball in his hands, get a first down. A little bit short there. But it's just these type of plays, these type of things you could do with him. You could do a whole lot with Tez Johnson. Just find a way to get the ball in his hands, let him make plays. And then, one of my other favorite things that he does is he's built for the scramble drill. He has a lot of big plays off the scramble drill. So you see, like on this one, he's right here. He's just running basically a kind of a quick slant. I mean, you could make the case that Gabriel could have threw to him right now, but that's fine. But he does have that guy chasing him after this, Abdul Carter. He kind of gets out of the pocket here, right? And you see Tez Johnson right here. The safety comes down. Tez Johnson sees the safety, understands if I just go past him, I can get open for Gabriel there. Boom, gets right in the open field. Scores a touchdown. And you kind of see on this play, like the long speed, you could kind of see the 4.5 in my opinion. A little bit.
He gets caught.
Yeah. Like the long speed was really never there. He's just so damn quick. And he looks super fast. Which is like perfect for the slot. Like it's an ultimate slot receiver.
Yeah.
You see here, just right. You pass the safety, break the tackle, touchdown. And then I really like this one here too. So, I mean, the linebacker does a pretty good job there at guarding him, but he can't guard him forever, and he keeps moving. So he knows, okay, so I didn't get open here. He looks back at the quarterback. Gabriel still has time. If I just keep moving, Now Gabriel can find me. I get that ball. He does this all the time on film. So he's great for the scramble drill too. He's gonna make some plays for you.
I like the awareness too. Like he realized it's like I can't drift too far. I'm gonna run into that curl. So I'm gonna turn it into a scramble drill without it being a scramble drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I talk about him against bigger corners inside, and teams getting physical with him. So this is what Ohio State really tried to do. They were like, we're going to put some of our best corners on him. And it probably even worked the second game because I didn't get to watch the second game the second time they played, but it probably worked even better the second time. So you kind of can see right here, when he gets physical, it's just a size mismatch weight-wise, and he just not able to fully separate there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, able to get his hands on him. Kind of just stick with him there. You see it on this one actually ends up being a hold, but it's just a good example of if these teams if a team gets physical with him and press coverage, especially like in the red zone, how he just kind of just struggles to separate a little bit.
Yeah.
The guy's just all over him there. And like I said, end up throwing the flag there because I think he gets him around the neck. But if the guy has some better technique there, you kind of can see how it might be a little bit of a struggle sometimes, like just against bigger corners, But
yeah,
when you have Brock Bowers and stuff like that, they're not gonna worry about Tez Johnson that much. Unless Tez Johnson goes out there 1,400 yards. I mean, he's playing for Oregon, yeah. You can see it on this one too when he gets here, he gets the safety, right? He's basically kind of running like basically a drag route right here, and the safety is able to kind of get his hands on him, right, and get physical, and he's just not able to separate as much as you would like there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those I mean, like I said, there are some limitations there that you're gonna have to deal with, but I think what the Raiders want at the slot position, bringing in Hunter Renfrow and that those type of players, I think there is like a vision of what you can do with Tez Johnson that you can make a lot happen. So, I mean, the film is impressive. Like I say, he's a tough player, definitely somebody that, kind of fits what Pete Carroll and them like to do, just the toughness that he has. And then what Chip Kelly likes to do on offense, he really fits. Like Chip Kelly would definitely find some ways to get Tez Johnson the ball and make him explosive. So the film is really good. He's just a great route runner. He's very savvy, just built for the slot in the NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, I pulled it up on PFF. Career 87% in the slot to 11% out wide. Last season was actually a huge dip for him in slot production. He was 79% and 16% out wide, which is the highest of his career out wide and the least in the slot. Just to paint the picture for you. Yeah. So like a 90% slot guy.
yeah, exactly. And you probably don't want to play him anywhere else, to be honest. But I think players like that, they have a fit. And I think you can make it happen. And when you can spread teams out, you have Geno Smith, who's really accurate. And if they get on the same page, man, they're gonna be able to cook and get some easy completions. You know what I mean? Where they're having some easy completions when you need them. Getting those third downs, converting some of those, third and must haves, and just finding ways to get him the football. So I think if you could, find a way and find some packages to get him the football, I think he could be an explosive player. You can get day 3 because I don't think he's going to go before day 3 though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Especially after the 40, I think you can probably get some good value there in like a 4th or 5th round pick if he's still around there. So
yeah, for sure. All right, that's it, guys. So that's the show for today. Did Tez Johnson and Demetrius Knight. Like I always say, check out all the draft episodes that we have done, man. Make sure you go watch Alfred Collins. I mean, that's what I want every Raiders fan to go to. Go back to that Cincy show, watch Alfred Collins. His buzz is building, and we got a breakdown of him. He got no appreciation. So I'll go back and watch Alfred Collins. What we did last weekend, we did Kyle Williams a couple days ago. A whole bunch of things that we got out there, guys. So, Travion Henderson, whoever you like, we got some film on them. So go check those out. And also, check out some of the membership videos I got up there. I got all the quarterback videos. I got a whole bunch of stuff up there as well. So check those out too. And yeah, that's it. Any last thoughts, Matt, before we get out of here?
I said, check out all the draft videos. Give my boy Alfred Collins some love. I'm happy to finally see him like get some draft stock, but I'm also like, damn, maybe he's not. I don't know if I can claim him as my guy anymore, or as that guy that's like the hidden gem. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, man, we're focusing on stopping the run defensively this year. That's been the theme of the last few episodes, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we're out of here. Peace.